SMS Seeadler 1888. This page is about a commerce raider. For the World War I cruiser, see SMS Seeadler. SMS Seeadler Jur Sea Eagle was a three-master steel-hulled sailing ship. She was one of the last fighting sailing ships to be used in war when she served as a merchant raider with Imperial Germany in World War I. Built as the British-flagged Pass of Bamaha, she was captured by the German submarine SMU-36 and in 1916 converted to a commerce raider. As Seeadler, she had a successful raiding career, capturing and sinking 15 ships in 225 days until she was wrecked in August 1917 in French Polynesia. Pass of Bamaha. The ship was launched as Pass of Bamaha by Robert Duncan and Company, Port Glasgow, Scotland, on 9 August 1888, as a steel-hulled ship-rigged sailing vessel measuring 1571 gross register tons GRT. She was 245 feet 75 m long, 39 feet 12 m in beam, and with a depth of 23 feet 7.0 m. Delivered in the following month to the ownership of David R. Clark, a partner in Gibson and Clark, Glasgow, she was registered at that port with official number 95087 and signal letters KTRP. In February 1908, Pass of Bamaha was sold at Leith by Gibson and Clark for PS 5,500 to the River Plate Shipping Company Limited of Montreal. Her port of registry remained Glasgow, but she was managed by American interests in Boston, Massachusetts. By 1910, she had been transferred to the ship Pass of Bamaha Company Limited, Montreal, and under the management of George I. Dewar, Toronto. Both of these companies were controlled by American shipping and lumber interests. Soon after the outbreak of World War I in 1914, Pass of Bamaha was transferred to the neutral United States flag and registered at Boston in the ownership of the Harvey Steamship Company Limited of New York, part of the Harris Irby Cotton Company. Capture. Pass of Bamaha was captured by U-36 in the North Sea in 1915 under somewhat peculiar circumstances. She departed from New York Harbor in June 1915, bound for the Arctic port of Arkhangelsk with a cargo of cotton for Russia. She was intercepted by the British auxiliary cruiser Victorian off the coast of Norway. Victorian's captain led a boarding party to inspect the cargo for contraband. The British captain found reason for suspicion and ordered Pass of Bamaha to sail to Kirkwall in the Orkney Islands for further inspection. A prize crew of an officer, 6 Marines, was left aboard to ensure compliance. The British also ordered the neutral American colors struck and replaced with the British flag, against the will of Pass of Bamaha's Captain Scott. Soon after, U-36 intercepted Pass of Bamaha. To avoid being impounded, Scott hid the British prize crew in the hold and replaced the Union Jack with the Stars and Stripes. The commander of U-36, Captain Ernst Grief, was not entirely convinced by this ruse and ordered Pass of Bamaha to sail for Cuxhaven for inspection. A German ensign was left aboard. Scott and his crew, resentful of what they perceived as British meddling, kept the British Marines locked in the hold. Pass of Bamaha reached Cuxhaven without major incident and was boarded by a German inspection party. Captain Scott then revealed the British prize crew to the Germans, who took them prisoner. For their cooperation, the Americans were allowed free passage to a neutral country, but Pass of Bamaha became property of the German Navy. SMS Seeadler. By 1916, the Allies had blockaded German warships in the North Sea, and any commerce raiders that succeeded in breaking out lacked foreign or colonial bases for resupply of coal. This gave rise to the idea of equipping a sailing ship instead. Seeadler was equipped with an auxiliary engine, hidden lounges, accommodation for additional crew and prisoners, 2 hidden 105 mm guns, mounted on either side of the forecastle, 2 hidden heavy machine guns, a pair of torpedo tubes for anti-cruiser purposes, and rifles for boarding parties. These weapons were rarely fired, the torpedo tubes never, and many of the 15 ships encountered by Seeadler were sunk with only one single accidental casualty on either side during the entire journey. On 21 December 1916, she sailed under the command of Kapitän-Lieutenant Felix von Luckner. The ship was disguised as a Norwegian wood carrier and succeeded in crossing the British blockading line despite being boarded for an inspection. The crew had been handpicked partly for their ability to speak Norwegian. Over the next 225 days, she captured 15 ships in the Atlantic and Pacific and led the British and U.S. navies on a merry chase. Her journey ended wrecked on a reef at the island of Mopelia, 450 kilometers 280 miles from Tahiti in the Society Islands, part of French Polynesia. The ship needed maintenance so that her hull could be scraped clean, but she was too big for Mopelia's harbor, and so had to lay anchor outside the reef. Disaster struck when on 2 August 1917 a large tidal wave lifted the ship and smashed her on the reef, totally destroying the ship. Luckily, no prisoners or crew were killed. Luckner and some crew sailed for Fiji, where they were captured and imprisoned. The French schooner Lutèce, of 126 tons, was captured by the remaining crew on 5 September 1917. They sailed to Easter Island as Fortuna, arriving on 4 October and running aground there, after which they were interned by the Chilean authorities. Captured ships: 16 ships, totaling 30,099 tons, were captured by Seeadler between 21 December 1916 and 8 September 1917. Unless otherwise noted, all vessels in the list were steamships. Gladys Royal, 3,268 tons, captured and sunk 9 January 1917. Lundy Island, 3,095 tons, captured and sunk on 10 January 1917. Charles Gounod, 2,199 tons, French bark captured and sunk on 21 January 1917. Perse, 364 tons, schooner captured and sunk on 24 January 1917. Antonin, 3,071 tons, French bark captured and sunk on 3 February 1917. Buenos Aires, 1811 tons, Italian sailing vessel captured and sunk on 9 February 1917. Pinmore, 2431 tons, schooner captured on 19 February 1917 and later sunk, after being used to obtain supplies. British Yeoman, 1953 tons, sailing bark captured and sunk on 26 February 1917. La Rochefoucauld, 2,200 tons, French bark captured and sunk on 27 February 1917. Dupleix, 2,206 tons, French bark captured and sunk on 5 March 1917. Ormgarth, 3,609 tons, captured and sunk on 11 March 1917. Cambronne, 1833 tons, French bark captured and released 21 March, arrived at Rio de Janeiro. A. V. Johnson, 529 tons, United States schooner captured and sunk on 14 June 1917. R. C. Slade, 673 tons, United States schooner captured and sunk on 18 June 1917. Manila, 731 tons, United States schooner captured and sunk on 8 July 1917. Lutèce, see above.